cheese.
So tonight, Aidan, would you like a story about Mary Poppins finding a spider in the boy's bedroom?
A friend spider and don't eat people.
Okay then.
And you don't hurt people too.
So Mary Poppins went upstairs to John's bedroom. She wanted to clean the bedroom. So she started to dust everywhere and to polish all the tops with a wet duster. Then she opened one of the drawers to put things away in the drawer, and in the drawer she saw a box. "I wonder what's in the box," said Mary Poppins. And she opened it up, and inside there was a great big spider. She was very frightened. The one thing that Mary Poppins doesn't like is spiders. She was terrified.
Where's the spider gone?
I'll tell you later. But the spider said, "Don't worry, Mary Poppins. I'm a friendly spider. There's no need to be afraid of me." So Mary Poppins said, "What? A talking spider? I've never heard of that before." But the spider said, "Yes, I'm a talking spider. And I won't hurt you, and I won't bite you." "Really?" said Mary Poppins. But then the spider said, "I've been stuck in this box for a very long time. John put me in the box, and he hasn't given me anything to eat. Can you get me some food?" "Well, of course I can," said Mary Poppins. "What would you like to eat? How about a cheese sandwich?" "Oh, no," said the spider, "I don't eat cheese." Then she said, "Well, I could always make you rump steak and chips." "No," said the spider, "I can't eat that." "Well, what do spiders eat?" she said. "Oh, everybody knows what spiders eat. We eat flies." Mary Poppins said, "Yeah, flies? And where am I going to find a fly for you to eat?" "Well, you did offer to help," said the spider. "Yes, but," said Mary Poppins, "catching a fly is quite difficult." "Well, a promise is a promise." So Mary Poppins
When we caught flies, we did a net.
Yes.
There's a net. We do it.
So Mary Poppins took out her magic umbrella, waved it in the air, and suddenly there were a lot of flies flying around the bedroom. Buzz, 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 buzz. And the spider looked up at the flies and thought, "Oh, they look like my lunch." So immediately the spider climbed up the wall, little by little, and started to spin a web in the corner of the bedroom. When the web was finished, he sat on the corner of the web waiting for a fly. And it didn't take very long before a fly and a gnat flew into the web and got stuck in its sticky threads. Then the spider rushed out, wrapped up the fly tightly in more thread, and took him back into his lair to be eaten. Then he rushed out again and got the gnat, which was also stuck in the web, wrapped it up in thread, and took it back to be eaten. And then the spider had a lovely meal of fly. And then the spider came down the wall and said to Mary Poppins, "Thank you very much, Mary Poppins. That fly was really delicious." "I'm glad you liked it," said Mary Poppins. "What about all the other flies flying around the room? Don't you want to eat them?" "Oh, no," said the gnat. Said the spider. "I can only eat one at a time." "All right," said Mary Poppins, and she left the room. Then John came in, and all he could hear when he came in was buzz, 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 flies going round and round and round. John didn't like the flies, so he called Mary Poppins to come. "Mary Poppins, can you come and help?" And Mary Poppins said, "Well, have you got a spider by any chance, John? Maybe it could catch the flies." "Yes, I have, but it's secret. You're not supposed to know where it is." Of course, Mary Poppins had put the spider back in the box. So John said, "I expect he'll want to eat those flies because he must be very hungry. I've forgotten to feed him for a week." So he opened the box and said to the spider, "Hi, spider, do you want to go and eat some of those flies?" But the spider said, "Well, John, no, not really. I've just had a very tasty one just now, which Mary Poppins helped me get." "What?" said the little boy. "Mary Poppins, you've been in my box. You're not allowed to go in my box. It's my box." Oh, I'm sorry, said Mary Poppins. Then what shall we do about all these flies? The boy had a big think, and he said, will you magic them here? Maybe you can magic them away. And Mary Poppins said, that's a good idea. So she took out her umbrella, waved it at the flies, and by magic they all went up in a puff of smoke. Whew! And that was that. The flies were all turned into ghosts. Yeah, turned into ghosts with that weird sound.
No, I must press the ghost.
So
Let me press the ghost.
this is the sound they made when they went away.
Is that? No, the ghost not like that.
It's this button here.
It's the...
And then they made another sound as well. You press the other button?
Where? Here?
Yes.
不要踩我的头，不要踩我的头，你踩到我的头了。
And that was the end of all the flies. And it also happens to be the end of the story of Mary Poppins and the fly and the spider.
Let's same story again.
All right. You can have the same story again.
Like this, okay?
All we have to do is play it back, don't we?